Imagine being stranded in the middle of the ocean, lost in the frozen Arctic, or trapped on a mountain with no food. Most of us wouldn't last a day. But history is filled with stories of ordinary people who faced impossible odds and lived to tell the tale. Today, we're counting down 10 of the greatest survival stories in history. Stay tuned until number 1, because it's often called the most miraculous escape of all time. 10. Ernest Shackleton's Antarctic Expedition, 1914 to 1916. When Ernest Shackleton set out to cross Antarctica, his ship, Endurance, was trapped and crushed by ice. For nearly 2 years, Shackleton and his crew endured freezing temperatures, starvation, and isolation. Against all odds, Shackleton led a small group on an 800-mile journey across open seas to get help, and remarkably, every single man survived. 9. Juliane Koepcke, the sole survivor, 1971. On Christmas Eve, 1971, a plane carrying 92 people crashed in the Peruvian rainforest. The only survivor was 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke. Strapped to her seat, she fell nearly 2 miles into the jungle and lived. Injured and alone, she walked for 11 days until she found help. Her survival remains one of the most incredible in aviation history. 8. The Donner Party, 1846 to 1847. A group of American pioneers traveling westward became trapped in the Sierra Nevada mountains during a brutal winter. Snowbound and starving, many perished, while others resorted to desperate measures, including cannibalism. Only about half of the group survived, but their story became a haunting symbol of both human endurance and desperation. 7. Hugh Glass, The Revenant, 1823. A fur trapper in the American frontier, Hugh Glass was mauled by a grizzly bear and left for dead by his companions. Somehow, Glass crawled and limped over 200 miles through hostile territory, surviving on berries and raw meat. His story inspired the film The Revenant, but the real story is even more brutal. 6. The Essex Shipwreck, 1820. The whaling ship Essex was struck and sunk by a giant sperm whale in the Pacific Ocean. The survivors drifted in small boats for months, battling starvation and dehydration. Some resorted to cannibalism to stay alive. Their nightmare inspired Herman Melville's Moby Dick. 5. Louis Zamperini, 1943. Louis Zamperini was once a celebrated runner who competed in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. But when war broke out, he served as a bombardier in the U.S. Air Force. In 1943, his plane went down in the Pacific Ocean, leaving him and 2 crewmates stranded on a tiny life raft. For 47 days, they drifted across the ocean, fighting off sharks, enduring blistering sun, and surviving on rainwater and the occasional fish. But Zamperini's ordeal didn't end there. After finally reaching land, he was captured by the Japanese and spent more than 2 years in brutal prisoner of war camps, enduring beatings and starvation. Despite everything, Zamperini survived. He returned home as a symbol of resilience, and his story was later told in the book and film Unbroken. 4. The Andes Flight Disaster, 1972. When Uruguayan Flight 571 crashed in the Andes Mountains, 45 people were stranded in freezing conditions. With no food and no rescue in sight, the survivors endured 72 days on the mountain. Ultimately, they resorted to eating the bodies of those who had died. 16 people were rescued after 2 men trekked for 10 days through the Andes to find help. 3. Apollo 13, 1970. Houston, we've had a problem. Those words launched one of the most dramatic rescues in space history. After an oxygen tank exploded, 3 astronauts were stranded in a crippled spacecraft nearly 200,000 miles from Earth. Through brilliant improvisation and sheer determination, NASA guided them home safely. Apollo 13 is remembered as a successful failure. 2. Alexander Selkirk, the real Robinson Crusoe, 1704 to 1709. A Scottish sailor marooned on a deserted island off the coast of Chile survived for more than 4 years alone. He hunted goats, built shelter, and tamed cats for companionship. Selkirk's ordeal inspired Daniel Defoe's classic novel Robinson Crusoe, and proved that even centuries ago, survival was possible with resourcefulness and grit. 1. Aron Ralston, 2003. Aron Ralston, an experienced mountaineer, was hiking alone when an 800-pound boulder shifted and pinned his right arm against the canyon wall. For 5 days, Ralston tried everything to free himself. He chipped away at the rock with a dull pocket knife, rationed the last drops of his water, and even recorded goodbye messages to his family, believing he would never escape. But when all hope seemed lost, Ralston made the unthinkable decision. Using his multi-tool, he broke the bones in his arm, then cut through muscle, tissue, and skin, amputating his own limb to survive. Severely injured, he rappelled down a 65-foot cliff and hiked 6 miles before finally finding help. His story became world famous, later inspiring the film 127 Hours. To this day, Aron Ralston stands as a symbol of the unimaginable strength of the human will to live. These stories remind us of the incredible strength of the human spirit when faced with impossible odds. Which of these survival stories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more forgotten history and survival tales, make sure to subscribe, because there are even stranger stories still to uncover. Thanks for watching Deck of Facts. See you in the next countdown.